preparations, whether it be for work or family or play or just simply relaxation. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to meet today. Thank you for giving us the opportunity for time away from work in the near future. Guide our actions according to your word. We ask it in your holy name. Amen. Bringing the meeting to order. This is a special meeting to discuss the school board policy. Mr. Bickner, any comments before I ask for a motion?
I have no comments. I made all of the changes that were suggested. I'm looking at it now, and there is a place where I will have to add an S because there's a typo out. And that's in A6, communication should be communications plural. Other than that, I have no changes to make or no suggestions.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to pass the policy.
I'll move approval.
Ms. Gilhausen, is there a second?
I'll second.
I'll give it to Ms. Clark. There she goes. I think this is the first time she stepped out. There's been a motion by Ms. Gilhausen and a second by Ms. Clark. Let's open this up for discussion. I don't know if everyone's had a chance to see all of the changes.
Yeah.
Review them. Any discussion?
Not on my part. I was happy with it. Thank you, Mr. Bickner, for putting this together.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Ms. Bullock, anything?
Yep, it's all good. I like it.
Aside from that one S. No. Ms. Gilhausen, any comment?
Nothing from me.
Not trying to make this a long meeting. I just want to make sure that everyone's heard. And Ms. Clark, any comment?
Well, no.
There's been a motion by Ms. Gilhausen, a second by Ms. Clark. No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. No opposition. The motion passes 5-0. Please vote on your computers. Awesome. Okay. And that is the end of the actual business. I did not welcome the public. I did not ask for any public comment. I apologize to those of you who are sitting with us today. If any of you have any comments to make, obviously, we welcome them at any time. Presentation from the audience, and Mr. Superintendent, I'm going to turn the next step over to you.
Yes, if I could address the board for a second in dealing with a topic relative to district membership and student membership areas for various schools within the district. And so, this is a topic that comes up every year, and there's a timeline in which to accomplish this process of reviewing membership of school areas and make any potential changes the board sees fit. And so you would like to have that done by March 4th, which seems like a long time away, but really is not in school board business timeline. So my suggestion is, and through the suggestion of other board members, that we would have a presentation at the January 7th school board meeting to talk about areas of need in regard to student membership areas. I would suspect that after that meeting, the board is going to want to workshop more in depth the information that's there. So I'm asking board members to look to potentially calendar a meeting on the 11th or 12th of January. And kind of, let me go through the whole process so you can kind of see how it's all interrelated. So I'm looking for a date of the 11th or 12th for a workshop in order to meet the March 4th to have a public hearing at that particular board meeting. We would have to advertise on January 26th. So I'm proposing that after the agenda workshop that we would have a special meeting in which to advertise Then, more than 28 days later, we would have the public hearing that would be at the board meeting on March 4th. It's important, that date is important because you know that we do allocations of staff members at the March meeting. And there's some contractual language. So here's what I'm proposing for us to be in alignment with contract language and for it to actually work out in many areas of this, is that we would have allocations come 2 weeks later. We would
2 weeks after the March 4th.
2 weeks after the March 4th, to give us time to readjust to whatever happens relative to this particular topic. And so the proposal would be this, that we give an informational meeting to the public at the January 7th meeting, that we have a workshop.
And could we not call it student membership, and let's be honest and call it redistricting, which is what it is, because we're gonna confuse people.
I think that
Call it student membership.
the term membership, after we had spoken, I went and looked, well, where did the term membership come from? In Focus, our database system, it's actually called membership, and I think Mr. Fossa is the one that coined that name. I'm not opposed to calling
I
it
don't think
anything.
it's transparent at all. I think that it looks as if we're trying to be deceitful to the community, and we're not calling it redistricting, and people won't pay attention, and maybe it'll go right under the radar. And I know that's not anybody's intent, but I know that's how it's gonna come across. Because that's how I looked at it, like, what in the world is student membership? And then when I realized you're talking about redistricting, it's just a play on words, and I think we should be more transparent about when we are redistricting or moving the boundary lines. I mean, we
So it's
called it
been-
boundary lines in the past, but
It's
we
been
can
called
do.
over the last 8 years, it's been called boundary revision.
Yes.
It's been one term.
For dough,
It's been called proposed rezoning.
right,
It's been called boundary realignment.
right.
It's been called a variety
See,
of things.
people
What
understand
was-
that.
I'm sorry,
those
what was the
terms.
third one, proposed
It was proposed rezoning
And then boundary
rezoning?
realignment, and people
and
understand
boundary
that.
realignment.
When you talk rezoning and boundary, they know that you're moving the lines of where their house is and the school that they go to. But when you say student attendance or student membership, I don't think the normal parent understands that you're talking about moving their house into a different district, moving those boundary lines. And I just feel that we are coming across as we're not being sincere with what we're doing. And I think it's very important to the community to know what we're doing.
Agreed. Anything you want to add to that, Mr. Fossa?
Well, I mean, I know because we use these terms all the time. When I was talking to my neighbors in the Fleming Island area, and they don't know when we talk about rezoning and redistricting, these are words that they don't know. We know them because we use them all the time. So when you look at a membership, and you're a member, and I'm the same, when I used to teach at the Bowles School, they were members. And that's what they were, and they were proud of the fact that they were members of this particular area. So I was looking for something, yes, a little softer. Rezoning does have a connotation to it, but for the same token, I don't think unless you're in this business that you really know what rezoning is.
See, and I don't agree with that. I
Okay,
think the
that's-
normal
I mean,
public
these are
does.
conversations that I had
They
with some
know.
of the folks that are in my area, which is in Fleming Island, and I had these conversations.
Well, what did we call it when we were talking about it at Patterson? That's my question.
We
What
called
was-
it rezoning.
And
when it
so,
came up last year.
and you saw what the
And we had
turnout was. It
300
was a
parents
huge
that
turnout.
were-
So obviously people understood
They
it for
understood
that
that,
time.
yeah.
The proposed
Yeah, I
rezoning.
just-
And it was a packed house that night.
Could, Ms. Clark, could I ask you a question as a realtor? When families come in, how do they ask? What do they say when they
It
say,
was,
do they say, what school am I zoned for?
They
You know what I'm
do.
saying?
They do.
It's been so long since we
Right.
bought a house and I have no idea.
But we're kind of under the gun and we have to refer them to your website because that could change next year. And if we tell them the wrong information, then, we're
You're
creating a
coming.
problem.
Right, no, I understand your
But, yeah,
side of it, but
they'll
how do
ask-
they ask is what I'm
Just
asking.
simply,
what district or what zone I'm
what
gonna be in?
school is this neighborhood zoned for?
Zoned for.
They use the word zone.
And that's, yeah, and
I
that's.
think we need to be
From that
transparent.
perspective,
So,
I
It
would
is a
hate for the
zone.
community
So-
to call us out for being deceitful, and that's, you
so to be
know.
honest, I really don't care what we call it,
Yeah.
so,
we need the meeting, so.
So-
so
Yeah,
there-
I'm just
so I
trying
mean,
to
we have
get
to
it
have a
done.
meeting, but, you know,
Well-
let's just call it rezoning or moving the boundary lines.
how about boundary realignment?
Boundary realignment is softer, okay?
Boundary realignment, then we'll call it.
It's, yeah, that's a little better than
Because I know, like I say,
student
when we did-
membership.
What we called it at Patterson,
Mhm.
it obviously had the word out because they were
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Well, and as soon as it's out there, I mean,
Okay,
Mr.
so-
Foss is going to give us a presentation on January 4th. And as soon as that presentation is made, people will be paying attention.
Right.
So,
So one additional little nuance, I'm gonna ask Ms. Honora to call you, each individually, set up an individual meeting so that you can actually look at maps and do a more in-depth study. I think that, you know, one of the challenges is to look at all the options that you have. You know, obviously the superintendent, my role is to go ahead and point out the needs that we have and potential options that we believe would, help with the needs that we have in certain schools in certain areas. And so there's no intention to hide this from anybody. It's an important topic. There's a timeline involved in getting it done, and I've just tried to outline the timeline to get it done. Now, ultimately, you know, what happens or doesn't happen, you know, we'll see. But I mean, we have to start that process, and that's why I was trying to speed that along. So once again, the plan would be that we would have a public presentation at the board meeting on the 7th. Ms. Honora would call you ASAP, you know, in the next day or so, set up an individual time to meet. We would have a workshop, potentially the 11th or 12th. You know, we're on the calendar here in a second.
You're not good on, and I'm not
Oh, wait a
available
minute,
in the
that's
morning on the
Never
11th or
mind.
12th.
you're in Feb, yeah,
Yeah,
the,
January's good.
got it.
So we would look at, you know, when the board is able to meet as soon as we can the next week. And then the 26th, there's already a workshop
Right. We have an
established, so
agenda
we can do
workshop,
this
yes.
special meeting after that
Right.
to advertise. That'll give us time to get out into the community. And then the final public hearing would be March 4th. So that's kind of the timeline. So the only date that I need, you know, hammered down now is when, during the week of the 11th, we can get you all together. And that would then take care of this process.
Thank you. Thinking of that, right, just boldly going forward, what dates are not good? Were you saying that you're not
So
available
I
on the
have
11th or
an
12th?
appointment both mornings, and the
Okay.
one on the 11th should be very quick, it's at 9:40. I bet I'm done by 10:15.
Well, I believe we can meet any time that week, so are you available Wednesday
I'm
morning?
good all day Wednesday. Is everybody else okay on
They're-
Wednesday?
They're
I'm
looking,
not- Tuesday's a better day for me.
Tuesday's a
Sorry.
better day for you?
Sorry.
See, and I'm not available at all in the morning,
Okay.
probably not till 1 o'clock on Tuesday.
Okay, well,
Thursdays, I mean, if.
Thursday, so far, we're not good with Tuesday morning, we're not good with Wednesday.
I can do Thursday.
Thursday morning,
Yeah, that's good for me.
are you shaking no?
Anything but Friday morning because of Orange Park High School.
Right, Friday morning, we're
But
busy,
anytime.
yeah.
I'm having surgery on Thursday.
Yikes.
Just, it's not a big deal, it's just wisdom teeth, but.
No, that's, hey,
That's a
that's
big deal.
cool. So what about if you could look at Tuesday afternoon?
You know what, let me try to move my Monday. I'll just, it's a doctor's
Well, no,
appointment.
Tuesday's better for me.
Tuesday's
I'm
better
sorry.
for you.
Monday, I have two things that, I
All
have
right, I'll try to
both
move my
school things,
Tuesday.
so.
Well, or, let's, before
When if
you
we
go
met in
to
the
that,
afternoon?
why can we meet in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Is anybody not available Tuesday afternoon, let's say at 1:30, to give you more time? What about your schedule? Sorry, I guess we should look at you too.
I do show on the
I'll
calendar,
rearrange my
state of the county address is that day.
Yep.
So,
So
I
how about-
I
That's
mean, that's,
usually in the
how about-
morning.
that's at night, but I'm just
Oh,
saying,
it's at night?
yeah, it's at 6. So
Why don't
it's-
I have that on my
I
calendar?
think it's,
The
there's, the
BCC?
luncheon, I
Can
think,
we
is
get
at
invited to
noon.
that?
Yeah, that's usually a.
Okay,
that's usually
see, I'm
a meal,
still,
like a
I do
breakfast
have that
or
on my
lunch.
calendar,
Yeah,
so I don't
okay.
know
Well,
if
that's
that's.
through the county commission.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe,
the chamber.
maybe 2 o'clock then, is that possible, Ms. Bowles?
Yeah, that is 2 o'clock good with everyone. Tuesday,
That's my
the
nap time.
12th, I'm sorry?
So that's my nap time.
Oh, it's your nap time. Well, okay. You're gonna have to nap at 3 that day, so.
You can sleep during the meeting.
Yeah, sleep during the meeting. So 2 o'clock, Tuesday,
Is this a special meeting or workshop?
the 12th. This is a
Workshop.
workshop only.
And it's going to be here?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms.
Okay.
Sonora, could you make sure that this room is available for us, please? Tuesday, the 12th of January, 2 p.m.
And let's talk about the boundaries.
Rezoning.
The
What did we end up with?
boundary alignment.
Boundary
Gotcha.
alignment, thank you.
Realignment.
We all
Realignment, sorry.
Boundary
realignment.
realignment. I'm writing this down so we know. And everyone is well, we will do a special meeting then on the 26th following the agenda workshop. That's Tuesday morning. We are scheduled anyway at 9 o'clock for the workshop. If we set our meeting for 10 or 10:30 following that.
Yeah, it didn't look like there was a lot of
I was gonna say,
stuff
we haven't
coming
really
up.
seen the agenda yet for February.
Well, do
So
they have to
10.
be, that doesn't really have to be time sensitive, does it?
If
A special
we
meeting?
name a time, we have to wait until that time, but we could say at 10 o'clock or immediately at the conclusion
Okay.
of the workshop.
That should be fine.
In case we run a little
Perfect.
bit longer.
So
let's
that's
do
the
that.
26th,
That's the 26th in the morning.
and that's going to be to discuss,
Then we have to set, that's when we have to have a special meeting
To take action on
to
what,
take action on the.
so we could advertise.
Yes,
right?
yeah. Then the advertisement would start and we'd have 28 days
Gotcha.
before that March 4th.
Very good. Mr. Fossa, I don't envy you
Mm-mm.
to have to go through this. I do have a request though, because I know you're gonna send maps to us, or you're gonna give us handouts.
Mhm.
Can we get them on large paper?
Sure.
So that it's large, so we're not, you know.
So we don't have to bring our.
Sometimes even with the glasses,
With our
you can't read them.
glasses.
So if you can do big, you know, Kevin has done that before in the past, we would appreciate that, or at least I would.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, while we have our calendars out, let's just double check everything that's going on. January 4th is the Tools for Schools ribbon cutting, and then that will be open for teachers to get their this is through the foundation, if you want to attend sort of thing.
What time and where?
Say that again?
11 a.m.
11 a.m.
At Orange Park Junior High.
And that's at Orange Park Junior High, yes. I think the ribbon cutting is actually in the afternoon, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. We'll double check the time for that. School board meeting the 7th. And we're assuming that we might have a visit or two from students prior to that for student hearings. We don't know that yet.
I do not know that yet.
Okay, so just for your record, 4:15, I think the earliest we've done that has been 3:15. So that's usually a relative time in that area. You said the state of the county workshop is the 12th? Is that a chamber or is that a BCC?
That's well, it's
Okay.
in collaboration.
Okay. 9 a.m. on the 15th, Orange Park High School ribbon cutting ceremony for the Community and Schools event, 15th of January. The 21st, Thursday, 6 p.m., Bannerman graduation at the TTC. That was changed from the 7th. We just got an email from
We did.
Mr. McKinney on that,
Just,
so that may be in your email box as well.
6 p.m. on the
6
21st.
6
o'clock.
p.m. on the 21st, and it's usually at the TTC.
This is where he has it, I can
And
find it.
if
And this is
there's
the
a larger
elevation
number, I
students.
would assume they'd move it to the cafeteria at Fleming. So, the 26th is our agenda workshop, followed by a meeting for our boundary realignment. And that evening at Ridgeview High School is the pass and review.
And that is really nice. You should
It is
It's
very nice.
yes.
Already promised.
On the 28th, we have our virtual Apple Awards on the 28th. I'm assuming we may be invited to go to a location
What
when
are
this
they?
is all set up where we can social distance, but then be with the top 5 of each group, top 5 teachers, top 5 school-related employees, so that we can be excited when one of them is named as our Teacher of the Year and Support-Related Employee of the Year.
Is there a time for that event yet?
It's 7 o'clock for the virtual.
7 o'clock. I have 6:30. So it'll be sometime in there. The county school board, or county spelling bee is Tuesday, February 2nd at 6:30 p.m.
Who's hosting it? What school?
Lake Asbury Junior High School. So it'll be a larger event or larger venue so that we can have a little bit more social distancing.
I like that they've moved it. Thank you for doing that.
And what's the time?
6:30.
Thank you.
And our school board meeting on February 4th.
And do we have a science fair date yet?
No, I haven't gotten confirmation on that.
It was moved to January instead of February, right? Didn't I see something about that? Because we're normally like the first Tuesday in February, and somewhere I thought I read that it was moved up to, maybe it's a Rotary thing that I saw it at.
I'll look into it,
Yeah,
and I'll get
Yeah,
back
it's
to you.
usually a Tuesday.
It's always a
I
Tuesday,
know that,
it's
but that's,
Rotary,
yeah.
we do it.
And is the spelling bee at Lake Asbury Junior High?
Junior high, yes. And whether we go or not, I'm not certain if we will be going or what will be happening, but the Florida School Board Association days in the legislature are the week of March 16th. And by then we'll see what's going on and whether we're even going to be able to gather. At this stage, we're not even allowed in the buildings, so
Right.
might be a moot point at that point.
Mary, thank you for going through all this stuff.
Absolutely, I figured we
So-
have our calendars here, let's do it, and let's get it all out.
This is, and I don't know, Mr. Frosty, you probably don't remember, but I talked to Mr. Davis last year and the year before. Do you guys remember we used to do Battle of the Books? And I've had media specialists talk to me about it, and they were gonna reinstate it last year, and then they didn't get to it. Is it possible that we can go ahead and maybe start that back up? And it's probably too late this year, because I know
Yes.
they start.
So I'll be happy to have that conversation with Susan Gannon, who's the district library specialist, and we can look into something like that for the 2021.
21, yeah,
21.
22, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
I know it.
It's a great program, and, you know, some of those kids, that might be the only place they really excel, and we've all sat in on it, and it's really,
Yeah, and I'll be, I'm very familiar with it, and I will definitely get with her and see what we can do, okay?
I think it'd be a good thing if we can reinstate it again, thank you.
That's based on the Sunshine books, right?
Yes, ma'am.
The Sunshine Young Readers. I'll have to get that list again and start reading.
It's amazing when you watch those kids, and they can remember just from one quote which book it is, or which author it is. It's pretty impressive for these, you know, I think they're 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade? Or 4th, 5th, and 6th?
5th, and 6th.
I would think 4th, 5th,
4th,
and
5th, and 6th,
Yeah.
maybe.
4th, 5th, and 6th.
Yeah. Well, thank you for looking into it
No,
for me.
Okay,
That's all I had.
that's,
If anybody would like to schedule the Mr. Fossa meeting while you're here, before you leave, I'll just throw these 4 dates out to you. They are Monday, the 21st. I know you're already coming in to meet with Ford and Associates, so maybe on the
perfect for me.
before or after, you know, kind of,
oh,
or
yeah.
Tuesday, the 22nd, at any time. Or we also have Tuesday, January 5th, or Wednesday, January 6th. And that would give you the opportunity to ask any questions prior to the public presentation on the 2nd.
Cool. Dr. Legucco, how long will our meeting with Ford and Associates go?
It'll be less than an hour.
Okay. Okay.
Sounds good. We can do that after this meeting?
Yep.
Very good. Mr. Broski, any further comments, questions, concerns?
I do, we're gonna with board's permission, we're gonna add another agenda item. We have tentative agreement with CESPA that just happened yesterday afternoon, so very thankful for that. We're gonna thank the board. You know, if you could have asked the pandemic superintendent what his Christmas wish list would be, that would be one of the things on the wish list. So I'm very pleased and very thankful for the board and your continued commitment to our employees.
Well, I
That's
think
it.
that's great.
Let's
Thank you
add
for all
that,
your hard
most
work.
definitely add it,
Right.
yes. Great. Mr. Bickner, anything that you'd like to add?
I have nothing, thank you.
Awesome. I didn't mean to just cut you off,
I'm
but
good.
any comments, questions,
I think
concerns?
I've said enough. Thank you.
Things are very positive right now.
You can't have sense of humor, Dave.
Don't rock the boat. Beth, do I call, Ms. Clark, do I call on you or do?
I was just gonna say thank you to Dr. Legutko and everyone who made it possible for us to be able to
Absolutely.
make everyone happy,
Mhm.
salary-wise, so, or do something anyway.
Yeah.
Very
But it's been a fun, sorry,
No,
it's been
keep
been a
going.
fun week. So we got to go to Bannerman yesterday and the GED graduation, which is to me more special than all of them.
That last night's graduation was fun, and
Very nice.
seeing the variety of ages
Yep.
was just heartwarming. I mean,
It
it was
said 16 to 60.
16 to 60, and the families were so happy for those
like
children,
that.
for those students.
So
Yeah.
there was an interesting event in the parking lot after,
gosh.
after that. And,
Oh.
I was going, no, this is a good story. I obviously wouldn't share a story unless it was a good one. So
We gotta stay on the positive.
we're walking out to the car, and I see this group of folks gathered by another car, and the door's open. And I look over and I see the young man is down on his knee and had just proposed to one of the ladies that had graduated. And I couldn't help myself. I went over there and I said, oh, let me see. You know, I kind of got in the middle of it, and she kind of showed me, and I kind of, you know, oohed and ahhed. And of course, I did get in trouble when I got in the car from Sue for going over there, but I couldn't help it. I wanted to rejoice with them.
Yes.
Which is
Oh,
kind
maybe you proposed or something,
right.
then she'd be upset.
Yeah, Mary, please, your pictures have the groom, the bride, and Dave.
I didn't photobomb this time, but I did go over to congratulate and celebrate. It was kind of interesting.
Oh, that's really sweet. It was very nice, and I loved how they did go sit with their families. It
Oh,
was
that was-
very, very nice. They did a wonderful
They
job.
did a very nice job.
Everybody was smiling. It was
Yes.
just,
So nice.
Everybody wore masks, but you could just see it. And I
Yeah.
mean, when they were marching out to the pomp and circumstance, and there was one mom sitting there, and she kept using her mask to wipe up the tears. I mean, she kept doing this, and I'm sitting there going, oh, don't look at that, I'm gonna start crying, and I thought, I've got a mask on. Yeah. Wow, very cool. Well, your first graduation, so you're an old hat at it now. Yep.
one down and many more to go.
There you go. Ms. Gilhousen
Nothing for me.
and Ms. Bullock.
Well, first of all, thank you for making sure the meeting on Tuesday went very smooth and I was able to get to my meeting. I want to do a shout out for Melissa Mann, who is the music teacher at Keystone Elementary. She brought the students over, and you know, I'm always so amazed how now you're imagining chorus and you can't meet, but how you can perform. And they didn't sing. They did all instruments, and the one thing that she did is they did the national anthem and they did sign language.
Oh, how cool.
All the kids, and it was, you know, and we're talking little 4th and 5th graders, and it was just so impressive. Such a nice job, but they really did a good job. And of course, I certainly, and you know, you talked about the pomp and circumstance, and I shared this story with you, and I'll share it with everybody because it's such a warm story. When Susan Saylor was a teacher at Keystone Elementary School, and I was fortunate enough to be the principal there with her, she did an at-risk program, SPEARS, specialized program from educating at-risk kids. I can still remember it. But anyway, and whenever they were having a bad day, she would say, we need to stop. and she put on a plea of pomp and circumstance, and she said, let's keep our eye on the prize. And I mean, it was just, it was amazing, the calming effect, so every time I hear that song, I think of her and that, so, and of course, the Bannerman, the luncheon was very nice, I mean, they did a phenomenal job, and, I know the kids really appreciated it, and I did too, it was very nice, so thank you. So that's mine.
Well, spelling bee season, we ended up doing the spelling bee at Rideout Elementary, and this morning I was at W.E. Cherry. And it just warms the cockles of my heart to get into a school and see students. And at Cherry, it was an empty cafeteria, and we had the kids all on the stage, and they spelled to the judges. At Rideout, they were able to actually bring students in and social distance them. But not too many students at Cherry, so they didn't even bring the students down. And tomorrow morning's Argyle, and we'll see what they do there. But this has, as we all know, has been an unprecedented year. We have heard that over and over again, and there's one person, I'm taking full benefit of being chairman right now, I'll just tell you that. There's one person in this room that has stepped into it in February, right? You started in March.
Started in March.
And we closed schools March 13th.
First Thursday of March was.
I think.
I don't know if that's
You
something
were-
you should hang your hat on now.
Yes.
Well, I get in and we close schools.
The least
The week right before.
experienced.
It was the day before my birthday.
Yeah.
13th, yeah.
You were the least experienced superintendent, most likely, in the state of, possibly in the country, but definitely in the state of Florida. I don't know of anybody who started
It was a Friday.
within
the
that
13th.
month or 2 weeks after you did. So I did a certificate, and it's on Christmas paper, so you know, it's very, very official, very official. But this is to certify that David Brodsky is indeed the superintendent of the pandemic year, and has been heard to say, I miss precedented times. Awarded this 17th day of December 2020, and yes, I am the chair of the school board. You can frame that, put it up.
Oh, it'll go on my refrigerator for
Maybe your wife will put it out there for
And you
you.
can keep pointing at it, and I'm sure Sue will just greatly appreciate that, so. With that being said, blessings to each and every one of you for your holidays. We will see you in the new year. This meeting is adjourned.